Hello, I am Tone Milazzo. That's my book, The Faith Machine. It is a psychic espionage. The elevator pitch I give is it's the X-Men in the X-Files. So, plainclothes, superheroes in a spy environment with an ensemble cast. It was heavily inspired by The Men Who Stare at Goats, which is a nonfiction book about psychic espionage programs. And after I read that, I got wondering, what if these programs were still underway and what would they be like? All the world building spilled out of that. Alright, I'll just go ahead and dive right in. To say the Colonial Motel was past its prime assumed it ever had one. Run down, infested by a dozen kinds of vermin, and stuck between cities off I-94's run through Indiana, the Motor Lodge was a good place to make a drug deal and a likely place to get robbed, which summed up Park and Anya's evening. Dr. Ken Park sat back against the bed and stared at the lamp's torn shade. He was no stranger to hallucinogens, but the woman's psychic attack had sucker-punched him in the prefrontal cortex. His pistol lay on the stained carpet, empty and out of reach. Colors still pulsed and shadows twitched, but he straightened out, for the most part. The trip felt like hours. The clock said 15 minutes. Sweat ran into his eyes as he crawled towards the open door after Anya, his best agent. She chased after the psychic and her boyfriend. No telling what would happen out there if the woman's card, jargon for psychic power, had set Anya tripping too. The mission might be a wash. What mattered now, though, was her safety. Anya dropped into the doorway, curled in a squat like a cat ready to pounce. She was dressed in a sports bra and shorts, hair cut short like a boy's, body a tight coil of muscle, her life written across it in scars. Park knew most of the stories. None were pretty. Anya, he mumbled. It's fading. Just another 10. She closed her eyes and hissed. He rose up on his heels, hands up. Stay calm. Wait this out. And you'll be fine. An aggravated, hallucinating Anya scared him more than the unexpected trip did. She caught him looking at his gun. Don't bother, I'm fine. She rolled inside, leaned against the bed, and covered her eyes. Wouldn't do any good even if it was loaded. He waited on the floor with her a few more minutes until the shadows stopped flowing. I'm good now. How about you? She nodded. Why'd you unload your gun? You should have been firing it. He gathered the pistol and an empty magazine. Those two were gone before I could draw. I didn't want to risk shooting you. He picked bullets out of the worn carpet, loading the pistol with sweaty, shaking fingers. A round slipped out of his grip, arcing through the air. She caught it and handed it back. How sweet. He slid the magazine back into his pistol. What happened to your shirt? I tore it off. Thought it was filled with bugs, hundreds of biters. In this place it might have been. Still, maybe the cops were right. Could that be some sort of aerosol weapon? He shook his head, stood and jammed the pistol back into his underarm holster. The cops don't know what they're dealing with. It sure wasn't like any drug I've tried. I think the woman was a psychic we're looking for. Everything went weird after she hit that snuff bullet. Snuff bullet? I thought that was some kind of asthma medicine. Well, what if she's not psychic? What if it's in the drug itself? Then we'd be in a lot of trouble. Fortunately, cards are in people, not chemicals. It's psychosomatic. Ingesting the drug just activates her card. The empty spot on the floor between their bags reminded Park of his failure. The bait had been too good. 10-pound bag of sugar pills pressed to look like Sudafed. The tweaker and her boyfriend had snatched it and run. Shit, have we ever had a mission go south so fast before? She stood and loosened up her neck. Doesn't matter. We fail, we learn, we get up and try again. He checked himself in the bathroom mirror. His hair was stuck to his forehead with sweat. I look like crap. She pulled a yellow lacrosse ball out of her gym bag and Eiley began rolling it back and forth across her hands with hypnotic grace. At least we identified the target. I bet you're glad we didn't have the real stuff on us. He washed his face. That'd be great if we were here to flood the market with dummy meth. But our mission was to evaluate the psychic. Now they're gone and I didn't even get a chance to talk to her. You think an addict is Project Deadblind material? She took her turn at the sink. He peeled off his sweaty coat and shirt. They deserve a chance, like everyone else. The new girl, Agent Gabby, she's in recovery and has lots of potential. The hotel phone rang. She stopped the ball, balancing on the back of one finger. Is that who I think it is? He shrugged and went to pick up the phone. We won't know until we answer, will we? Lifting the receiver. Hello? Hi, Dr. Park. It's Exposition Joe. Park nodded at Anya. She threw up her hands and stepped back. The chipper-voiced teen continued. Hey, you ever heard of urban decay? Park sighed, bracing himself for another asemic conversation with Project Deadline's precognate. I'm aware cities aren't exempt from the forces of entropy, if that's what you mean, Joe. Kinda. More like people who are all about it. Like they take pictures of ruined buildings and post them online. Sometimes they break into places like this water park in Indiana, Splashdown Dunes. It used to be an amusement park called Enchanted Forest. I guess it's still amusing if you think about it. Are you saying our target robbed us and then ran off to an abandoned water park? Something like that. Hey, when you get there, you'll see what you need to see. Hey, I gotta go. Say hi to Anya for me. And Joe hang up. Park put the phone back in his cradle. Joe says hi. Yeah, great. She rocked the lacrosse ball on the back of her hand. What else did he say? He told me about an abandoned water park near here. Park powered up his sat phone and called up the map. Anya flipped the ball over, snatching in the palm of her hand. Near here? How does he know where here is? He's not in the mission. He wasn't in the briefing. I don't trust Joe. The same way he knew the phone number to this room. That doesn't answer my question. He didn't have an answer that would satisfy her. But he's never been wrong. Let's see this abandoned water park. She dropped the ball back into her bag. If you're lucky, the balloon animal guy will still be around. I can make my own balloon animals, he said with a note of offensiveness in his voice. She cast a skeptical look in his direction, but reconsidered. You probably can, too, dork. They cleaned up and changed. Anya into blue coveralls and a ball cap, Park into a black suit with a clipboard in hand. The agents climbed into her pickup, orange in the yellow light of the parking lot. According to the GPS, the remains of Splashdown Dunes were an hour drive away. Night gave way to dawn as they pulled off the highway and parked by the gate. A man on a dark green and black sport motorcycle in matching racing suit and helmet pulled into the parking lot, a hard-shell backpack strapped to his back. He circled around the lot, leaving the way he came. Anya watched him go. Didn't expect to see a rice burner here in Harley country. Park slid a pair of lockpicks out of his belt buckle. Maybe he's looking for a way out. Just cruising on by, that looks suspicious to you? Like he wants to be seen? The padlock on the gate popped open in Park's capable hands. Sounds like every guy on a motorcycle. The agents wandered the park together, looking for what Exposition Joe said they needed to see. Weeds burst through seams in the concrete and asphalt. Despite their abandonment, the tangle of fiberglass tubes and water slides retained their cheery disposition. The bright primary colors retained their vibrancy, a touch sun-bleach on the edges. Marred by spray paint and scuff marks, the park showed the telltale signs of skateboarder appropriation. Anya fished her lacrosse ball out of the coverall's pocket and bounced it off a concession stand. Sun's up. Sure no one's going to notice us out here like this? They'll notice, they just don't care. With a suit, clipboard, and the right attitude, you can go anywhere. Watch. He demonstrated by glaring at the horizon like it was late. You'd be surprised where this expression's taken me. Having you along as a contractor, that seals the deal. Let's point in case someone is looking. Point where? She asked. There, he pointed. At what? Nothing. It doesn't matter. Just point with me. She aimed her finger half-heartedly with him. See? We look professional. He grinned. She rolled her eyes and wandered between a pair of concrete dolphin statues, one of which had "Suck Your Own Dick" spray-painted on its side. She sized up one of the park's taller slides. How about I take a look from higher ground? Park nodded. But be careful, this place is condemned. Don't worry, I'm a professional. She jumped on the side of a tubular water slide and scaled its 20 feet, swinging hand over hand as if she were on a set of monkey bars. You know, because I'm wearing coveralls. She got to the top of the slide, outlined against the early morning light. Here, let me point at something. Anya pointed in the distance for a second before dropping her arm and squinting, then dropping to her belly, hiding. Park watched her from the ground level. What's up? I hate to admit it, but I see a light. In the shelter on the top of those long red slides? Toss me the binos. He threw up a small pair of binoculars to her. Sounds like a good place for a lab. Above the rest of the building for ventilation. No neighbors to see anything suspicious. Pour waste down the slide. I bet the pool at the bottom is disgusting. Doesn't look like a lab to me. The psychic, her boyfriend, and a lot of 5-gallon jugs. He's shaking one of them and its insides are burning. Ooh, that's not good. They're using the shake and bake method to cook meth. Throw everything in the bottle, and a series of loud pops interrupted him. The distant lab erupted in a ball of smoke and fire. Anya dropped the binos down to Park. I think our problem just solved itself. Shit. Park's shoulders sank as he watched the ball of black smoke rise. What a damn pointless waste. Floating in their tank on the other side of the world, at the bottom of the installation designated CIG-1, the collective watched Caseman 7 sitting on the green and black motorcycle. When Anya's Park pulled out of the highway going east, the Caseman zipped down the hill from the west, through the water park, and parked towards the burning remains of the meth lab. Pulling a short crowbar from his saddlebag, he raced up the stairs through the flames. The tweakers' burnt corpses lay where they died. Last month, the collective had watched Casement 7 teach them a cheap and easy method to make the drug they craved, and helped set up their operation, neglecting to warn them of the danger. Ducking under a plume of smoke, he attacked the loose floorboard with the crowbar, breaking it in two. Jamming his arm through the hole, he came out with the cash box. It was a flimsy thing. The caseman could have pried it open with the crowbar in a minute, but he didn't have to. The collective had told him the combination. The box held 3 ounces of crystal meth and roughly $2,000 in loose bills. Casement 7 stuffed both the drugs and the money in his jacket and left the box to burn. Despite Park's feelings, the tweakers' deaths weren't a waste. The collective mused. In fact, their death served the higher purpose. All right. So, yeah. Once again, it's the Faith Machine. I don't know why I'm showing it to you because it's right there. And it is available pretty much anywhere you want to buy books from Running Wild Press. I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for your time. I am available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the usuals. All right, and hope you enjoy the rest of the con.